How do you take an ex?
Well,
Just take her.
because there's some people who are attached to their exes, and then they feel like their exes are off limits for everybody else, and it's like, no, it's not. See what I'm talking about?
Open about it.
No. If
he was open
your
about
ex
it.
has your friend has an attachment to their ex, and
you're slimy for having an attachment to an ex. Get over it. That's the only slimy, selfish person that there is. I'm not. You and that person is not working. So if I decide that I want your ex and you're my friend, you got to understand. I will say, as long as it's not an ex-wife or a baby mother or father.
Why?
Because there's a lot of commitment that is there, especially with a kid involved, is different. But if it's an ex that there was no real serious engagement, by that I mean like, engaging, like engagement ring, and more. That's not your property. Like, let it go.
Like trading objects.
Yeah, really. You've already sold the deed.
this is why I
just
wouldn't
bought
put
the new
myself in
house.
that kind of situation. Because if a girl I want to take has any kind of attachment, or my friend has any kind of attachment to this new person that I want to date, I'm just the flunky.
What do you mean?
They have a connection that
you have a connection.
Okay,
The other people, right?
No.
It's your friend, right? Your friend is the one that has a connection.
No. There's no connection.
She don't want him.
Attachment.
Yeah.
Who has the attachment? The girl has an attachment, or your friend has an attachment?
The ex likes me.
Okay.
My friend has an attachment to his ex, but the connection is not there. The connection is right here. The connection is here. So if you have an issue with the fact that your ex does not like you and your ex now likes your friend and vice versa, that's a problem. Like, we don't.
Now, with your friends,
my groups, we don't.
Beyonce said this last week, y'all. Remember,
what you say?
There's no connection, and they were friends. She literally said this last.
No, but there was no history either in that.
No, but there is history with your friend though. Mm-hmm. So don't you think that in this situation it's gonna be like battle of the girl?
No.
You don't think that your friend is, with this attachment that he has to her, is still gonna try to hit on her, or?
Yeah, we're not from the Gen Z era. So like, we look at things.
I'm not saying I do shit like this, or anybody I know do shit like this.
He would say something if he has a problem with it.
I mean, but
no, would you respect that?
No, because at the end of the day, like, you don't.
If he got her in a room alone, would you be nervous?
Guys, y'all serious? Rico, are you serious?
I'm being dead ass. Like, we don't have and I can legitimately call 3 people right now. I was actually on the phone with them just before I sent them a crazy ass meme, and the meme was when your homie said he would look after your girl, your wife, but then you die, and the guy's in heaven, and the homie is hitting it, and his homie's hitting his wife. But the real thing is,
but he's dead in that.
But he's dead. But you get
guys joke.
But yeah. But it's reality, because at the end of the day, like I said, I think the wife part is a little bit too much. I do think that there are certain limits. But when we're talking about an ex, right, there are some people who think that because you are friends with me and you dated this girl 4 or 5 years ago, that she's still yours. And that's not how that works.
That's
You
human.
know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
That's a great segue into talking about the Facebook, because maybe that's the connection too. Because in my head, if we were together when I was 16, 17, we broke up when I turned 27. So 10 years. Probably had a abortion or 2 together. Probably skipped school together.
Yeah.
You probably had to bail me out at that age. We cried with each other. We helped. Like, we did like everything together. We grew up together. Now 27. You like, I can't take this shit. Your life ain't going nowhere. It looks like you're on the road to being a loser. And, I'm like, well, your life ain't going nowhere. Fuck you. Well, fuck you too. I mean, F you too. Then we go apart. Now, from 27 to 37 to 40, 13 years later, you got married, you chilling. I got married, I'm chilling. I'm 10 years in my marriage. You're 9 years in your marriage. I'm on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And who do I see? It's Lydia or Midia or Kittia or whatever, right? And I'm like, oh, hey,
sounded like
kids
chlamydia.
Chlamydia?
That's what he got when they was growing up 10 years together.
That was part of the bonding. That was the bonding. It was the bonding moment.
My question is this. from another perspective, can the current person that you're with fight that connection? Because it's like,
But you don't know about it, right?
Damn.
if it's 1/3,
or compete with it is a better.
like if
No, I'm saying if you don't even know about it, because they're not telling you they're
no,
going
well, you find out and you file divorce. That's what people
Oh,
are
okay.
doing.
Okay.
People are doing it. They're like, instead of saying, it's like, okay, remember, 17 to 27. I ain't seen you in 13 years. Now I'm like, oh, hey, Kimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, funny. Hey, you stupid. Hey, dude. Next thing you know, y'all in a full-fledged
hey, big head.
reconnection.
That happened to me. Wow.
That always
Okay.
happens. It'd be
How do
Facebook
you-
for me,
but
honestly.
the current person that's been there with you for 10 years, they can't fight that.
I mean,
connection.
and I actually
Yeah.
agree. And at that point, you just have to make a decision. And I wouldn't even put it on myself. It's like, look, either you want it or you don't. Period. There's no discussion. You want it or either you want what we have or you want what you used to have. Don't waste my fucking time. Let's cut our losses and move around.
Yeah, but I think that what happens is usually at that point it's already the relationship is already rocky, right? Usually
The current person.
with their current marriage, your current. So when it comes to the divorces, the 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 from Facebook, they're already probably in a rocky relationship,
Right.
right? So because they're in a rocky relationship, both people are susceptible to temptations. And on Facebook, I just realized is where all my real soul ties are. My real soul ties are on Facebook. It ain't on Instagram, right? So now that girl that I went through all of that with, and she pop up, or maybe I just seen her status go from married to single, and I'm like, well, I kind of feel like my relationship is going downhill too. Now I just, hey, what happened? I heard such and such and blah, 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 blah. And now it just starts a conversation. But usually we're already in a dark place.
But you're not even giving the current relationship any chance anymore, right?
No, but you
are.
don't know necessarily. He not you, but the person probably has done what they can do to salvage your relationship, or done as much as they intend to do to salvage your relationship.
Can we stop making the excuse that your relationship is rocky?
Thank you.
Like, can we just say that sometimes you just yearn for what you used to feel with somebody else, even if there's nothing
can't
wrong with
relate.
your current relationship?
Can't relate.
Sometimes you just want to live on the edge, and that's why you gonna send that risky text to see if it's still hitting.
That's
But
a
why?
Gemini. And that's why I don't like Geminis.
Like an adrenaline junkie type of thing?
It's just a lost Gemini doing Gemini things.
You probably steal with a pocket full of money.
Like, yeah.
Probably
Like,
got $300
stealing.
and then just go steal a Snicker bar. Like for what? You got a pocket full of money.
Gemini. It's just a
Better when
Gemini.
it's stolen.
I don't live on the edge like that.
Yeah, I need more certainty.
Right? Thank you.
I'm not
You
risking
very
like
much live on the edge.
Gemini.
For our audience,
I'm thinking, if I
Go
think
ahead.
about if that person crosses my mind for any reason, I'm gonna just see what's up with it. How you doing?
I don't
Even
know.
if you're in a committed relationship?
It's a Gemini.
How
guys
you
don't
doing?
Well,
understand.
you know what? No, because this is the thing. You're doing it with some level of expectation for a response, for some engagement or something. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I've been in situations where I've seen like an ex maybe come across my Instagram or like I see out somewhere. If I know that what I know about that person and what we had, I'm gonna move the fuck around because I don't even want to like
put yourself in that position.
yeah, because I know
Wow, I never. Damn,
no,
all right.
because I know me and I know that person. If it's like Boo Boo the Fool or
No,
whatever.
we're not talking about Boo Boo.
Yeah, no, like
Talking about that guy.
What time
yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Talking about like a Rico type guy. Got it.
not really.
Not a. Never mind.
We
But-
definitely gonna move the fuck around.
Right. And like
Rico.
in the I just even wouldn't want to like put myself
In
the
that
thing-
position.
Yeah, and honestly, I think there's only one person I've ever like broke up with like on bad terms. So it ain't like the situations are bad where I don't get along with these people. But there are certain people who it's probably I'm just gonna move
You don't want that
around.
smoke. And
I yearn for some, like, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I've had some great relationships, right? And I've had great memories in my previous relationships. And there are times where, like, you know, something triggers a thought where how I felt in a situation that I really enjoyed or a moment that I really enjoyed with that person while I'm in a new relationship. That happens. And then maybe for a week or two, I am curious about like, yo, how are they? And I really want to see them. But because my relationship right now is secure or at that moment is secure, I'm not going to go seek it out.
I agree.
Now, when I know that I'm kind of tired, I know I'm kind of bored, I know that this is just whatever.
Time, right.
Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go act on my fantasies that are happening, that feeling of how I used to felt. I want it right now. And now there's no risk, or the risk is worth the reward, or isn't. Whatever.
No, you're right. It's
You know what I'm
worth
saying?
it.
The
It
risk is worth the reward.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool. I could get it, that feeling. That's cool. Because if I lose this, it is what it is.
Like it's already falling apart
Yeah.
anyway.
But people don't look at it like people are trying to reconnect without thinking about the logistics.
How?
What do you mean?
Because you run into an ex, it's a completely different time. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about if there's children involved. And I'm talking to an audience who's listening to this. You might be on Facebook. You checking Tamika out, thinking Tamika's not Tamika. This is 20 years later.
That's Tashisha.
Yeah, you understand? That
That's
could be
Mrs. Jackson.
Correct. There's so many other logistics involved. It's like Rubik's Cubes now.
Mm-hmm.
Like when y'all do, let's say you go and mess up your situation and your husband or your wife is like, oh, you on Facebook? Oh, you fucking with Tamika? You want Tommy? Fuck you. I mean, forget you. Just go, right? Boom. Leaves you. Now y'all do connect and that love is still there, but the logistics are different. Tamika might still be at home with her mother. That's a problem.
I be like, this mortgage still got to get paid. Wait a minute now.
Right?
But you know what? If you act on that type of thing and you don't consider the logistics, you get what you deserve.
I agree.
I'm about to say this
Shame
too.
on you.
Let's be real. Alan, we got to be real, right?
Do it.
Ain't nobody, I'm not going to say all the way, but most people are not double backing and reconnecting with the old flame or old soul tie or an ex, whatever you want to call it, without, especially when there's been a long time period that has been since they've seen each other last, without saying to themselves, wow, they're either doing what I thought they would, they are past what I thought they could be, or they just seem more put together than they ever were before. So I don't think everybody, like, if I saw an ex, I'm not doubling back and I'm like, damn, she's worse than what I left her at. Like, this ain't happening. But because this person that I had a situation with and there's feelings with has elevated in whatever sense, now it makes me more intrigued than before because I see what they've turned out to be. And sometimes I was buying into the potential that wasn't happening at that moment, but now I'm watching it happen right now. So it makes it easier for you to, like, risk your current relationship for that old flame because you actually have a more certainty in where they're at right now.
Can I add to that? A lot of these people only reach that potential because of who they're with. So really, you might double back and get your feelings hurt because she was dusty back then.
Somebody done upgraded you.
Right. She was dusty back then. She got upgraded. And she leave John or whatever, she get with you, she back to being dusty.
Yeah.
She wearing them same Payless joints that she was wearing when y'all was together. She finna drive that same like Hyundai Elantra with the fucking kid stickers on the back and the fingerprints. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. I mean, she might still have her same job, but
here's the craziest thing though. And I agree with Aaron a whole 100%, but she's still not upgraded. You know why? Because she's still fucking with the dusty. So like you went, you know.
Okay, but hold on.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like you can't, you've gotten all this, but you're still not there because you're still willing to go back down here. So like that's the craziest
but that was
thing.
the thing with the girl in the show, right? So she had everything. She
sure did.
She had a good husband with a good job. She had a big house. She had 2 kids. She was at home.
She's a thought.
They lived in like Connecticut or something.
She's a
right?
They had a
That's the yearn for excitement.
But it was exactly. She still yearned for that excitement and that amazing sex life that she had with the guy from the city. They was shacked up in some apartment in Soho, and she missed all of that. And she was
fix that.
She was going to risk her whole marriage for that little excitement.
Yeah.
No,
and they actually called it a 85-15 rule. So the 85 was what she had was the good life, the good house,
she risked
kids.
it for the 20.
And she risked it for
7.
that 15, that rush, that good feeling.
Because you got to realize,
and she was saying that she can't have both. She feels like she could never have both in one person.
Because he was a safe guy.
There's a thing, you know, and I find this even in my own life, and just speaking on a general situation and scenario. Whenever things got too easy for me, I was so used to having a difficulty in my life that I was like, my life is boring. I swear to God. Like when I was making the most money in my life in 2019, and the
challenges are not there.
There was no challenge, there was no stress, there was no worries, and I'm like, okay, I can only keep on flying around and doing what I'm doing, but so long.
Rico was like, "Give me them ramen noodles."
I was like, "Yo,
he
you know
needed
what
that struggle."
I started saying like, I had no. I felt like the purpose was I've completed life, and once you feel like
you were scrapping for,
but like you know, and that's what I'm getting from that story is like, the struggles and overcoming the struggles is a constant liberating moment every time you overcome it.
Yeah.
And once you have no more struggles, and especially depending on how you grew up, right? It could be like this life feels empty because there's nothing. What am I working for? What am I living for? You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you start to do the things that you know you shouldn't be doing. That's when you start to risk that 85% of what everybody wished they had for the 15% that nobody wants to stay at.
I'm gonna be honest, like,
it's not for Aaron.
I don't want to worry about my mortgage being paid. I don't want to worry about them coming to get my car when I'm at the Stop and Shop. Like, that ain't the kind of like what's it called, thrill that I like. I mean, if I want a thrill, let me just, I don't know, like
skydive.
Yeah,
no,
or go steal a Snicker bar like Amanda. Like, I just I don't
$300.
Yeah.
Well, this guy said this billionaire.
I don't want it.
This billionaire dude said to
I'm gonna steal it.
The billionaire guy did say that to I think he said to this guy who was coming up, you know, we wasn't poor, but he was coming up. He said, at least you're lucky, you have something to look forward to.
You told us this before.
He said, I could get everything that I want already. He said, I have nothing left to. He's like, I can't feel nothing no more. That's gotta be crazy.
You know, back in the day, right? Jack Thriller had his show.
I'll feel something with $1 billion. I'm gonna be all right.
I always feel.
Right.
Yeah, I know. For me, I will definitely. But Jack Thriller had the show.
Sorry, Rico.
Nah, what's it
I'm not even gonna play with y'all. I know what lonely feels like.
Hey, man.
I just like, you know, so Jack Thriller had a show, Party and Bullshit, back in like 2017 or maybe 18, right? Shout out to Jack Thriller. I remember I had got onto there as a +1, right? This is before when I'm getting scraps and crumbs, right? So I got onto there as a +1, and he had Graf on there and Safari.
Oh,
right. He had 2 different celebrity guests that day.
Big shout out to Graf. Big shout out Safari.
And I remember talking to them. They probably don't remember this moment, but it's ironic because now we all kind of know each other, right? But back then in 2017 or 18, I was talking to them outside after the show concluded. And, you know, they're all like kind of like giving me this powwow of like, yeah, you're in the right space. If you're around the right people, you just got to keep going. And I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm tired of struggling right now. And I remember Graf said, well, enjoy it because once the struggle is over, it's over. And then from that point on, you're just trying to figure out what you're living for. And I never understood it until 2 years later.
Cause you looking.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Cause imagine someone is in a relationship, your house is good, you cook every day for the kid. Like everything is so together. And then your husband or your wife, you know, I always dreaded this, and I tell you this thing all the time, is like, I always dreaded the couples when they both go into bed. One's on one side of the bed and the other's on the other side of the bed. They both grab the cover at the same time. You know, because they're going under the covers. They're like, so they're talking to each other. One lifts it, the other one lifts it. They put the pillows together and they both get into bed together. I'm like, God, please.
Why?
What the fuck? That's not life.
So they're just going to bed at the same time?
Yeah, I want to fall out.
I'm confusing.
I want to.
Man, they just about to go to sleep. You don't know what they did that day.
Right.
You basing your whole situation on somebody just trying to get some rest.
I remember seeing that and I was like, please, God, please.
You better come call up on the bed and kiss me.
Hey, man.
I don't know.
They went to sleep though. They just, they left the cover, and then so remember, I can't believe that the grass was just so green today.
I think that's
different. That's lame. That's lame.
I think you're talking about being afraid of the routine, boring, flat life.
Yeah, routine mess people up in relationships. And we talk about relationships right here on this show. And we're trying to tell the audience, like, sometimes you got to look at yourself. Maybe you are in a routine.
But you have to understand that there are some people who appreciate routine.
You do.
Yeah, I do. I'm not saying I appreciate boring.
Good routines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate...
Flowers every Tuesday.
No, I don't even like flowers. No. If you want to surprise me, throw a couple dollars on the island. So, so when I come out the room, I can go buy yourself something.
And a ticket to an island, on an island.
Don't buy me no flowers.
But
buy
me flowers.
Oh, see, yeah, there you go.
Every Tuesday.
I don't need it every Tuesday. Be sporadic. I don't need it. I don't need to know it's coming.
It's a routine every Tuesday.
No, I don't need.
Well,
I don't need
see, when I say routine, I'm saying stuff like I can trust you. I can trust you to be you. I know if on, like, even now I'm here on Thursday night or whatever, 9 times out of 10, we'll say 8 times out of 10, I know my husband is probably going out to kick it too. If I come home and he's home, I'm like, what are you doing here? Because I'm so used to him. If I'm out, he's gonna be out. Or if I'm going out of town and I come back home, typically my husband cooks for me, like when I get back. So I be looking forward to that meal when I leave, when I come back from the airport. There's just certain things that it's not boring, but it's just what we've set up, and it's just kind of,
I feel like that's
but like you gotta also think. Let's take you and your husband and your lives and career paths and what it has transpired to be completely out of it, right? Mm-hmm. And let's tap into somebody else's shoes who, let's say you have a woman and a man. Okay, the woman, she doesn't have to work. In Aaron's words, it's literally a life of leisure. There's no worries. There's nothing to do. There's no obligations. It's already done. And then you got a guy, and we can do 2 sides of the spectrum. You can do one guy who maybe he's a doctor, and he works, 10, 12 hours, maybe 16 hours a day, 3-4 times a week. Or you could say that maybe he's some type of big time investor or CEO or some type of owner where he's not working at all and clocking in and doing anything at all, right? At some point in time, on one end of the spectrum where the guy is working, that woman's going to be home by herself. She's going to get bored eventually, like especially if she got, this is the thing that eats up most relationships. When your friends and your peers have lives and they're doing and they're having and possessing some of the things that you wish you had, and it's a constant reminder of what you don't. Mm-hmm. So like maybe they don't have as much money and whatnot as you guys do, but they have dinner with their family every single night, and you don't even have dinner with your family ever, right? For whatever reasons. So then on the flip end spectrum, you have the guy that's home all the time with the girl, and maybe y'all got kids and y'all do your parent thing, and then after that, it's like, what now? Would you travel? You can only travel but so much, So sometimes a luxury routine becomes worthless.
It makes sense.
When it becomes redundant.
A luxury routine.
A luxury routine is worthless once it becomes redundant. And I think, the edge, the obstacles, and the triumphs for us, people give us something worth living for, Now, I believe that most people make a lot of money not living their purpose as well. That's a whole nother topic, which is why it becomes redundant, But I can see why, even if you had it all, you could still be miserable. Because what's left?
What routine?
I think people do need it. I think relationships need adversity. People, person to person, and then self to self need
challenges.
Need adversity.
Yeah, that's
and challenges.
The word. A challenge, not necessarily
challenges. Not adversity necessarily.
Yeah, challenges adversity.
Yeah. Well, like for example,
something to work for.
If you're in a relationship, like I think a healthy challenge is like, let's walk New York Marathon. Let's see if we could do it. Why? Betty across the street is doing it. I don't like that bitch. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like something
that's called healthy competition.
Competing with
I have a
Betty.
question for you, Rico, and I got a question for you guys because we're about to wrap up. But one question: what routine do you guys think some of these people on Facebook are in that's causing them to seek out
I already
exes?
know. Oh, sure. Honestly, I think if there are people who are, relying on Facebook to seek out their exes, I think that there's a routine in their relationship of either miscommunication or non-communication. Because if you generally, I'm not gonna say all the time, but generally I don't see why you would be seeking something specific with a person that you know, something that you specifically had 10, 12 years ago, if shit is straight in your relationship. Because if there are problems, that means you got some work to do. You ain't got time to be on Facebook. You really need to carry your ass home and figure things out. And there's also miscommunication, because that's gonna be what starts the argument. That's gonna be what starts, like, why you beefing over little bitty things. It literally could be because you didn't put the toilet on the toilet paper holder. Toilet paper on the holder. You know what I mean? And then that turns into some bullshit. And now you're like, man, fuck her. I'm going to Facebook and find my old Keisha or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to Keisha's, but I just think that communication is probably like the crux of it, and then everything just kind of like falls
around that.
From that.
To be honest, I think that the answer to your question is pretty simple. People like feeling something new. When shit is going left with what they already got going on, and I'm not married or I've never, been through marriage, but I could only imagine how difficult it is when you're not happy in a marriage, and like getting through that probably wouldn't be the easiest thing. It's not going to happen overnight. You probably are going to go through trials and tribulations for a while before you guys get it right. But having somebody new come into the situation, make you feel good, that, I don't know, that's gonna how do you guys say endorphins?
It's like a high.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a high. It's a rush for some people. So I don't know. It's definitely different than working it out with your current person.